Bonjour everyone! Today we are making something very easy. A one-pot dish using a protein and some vegetable. This is the kind of dish which I make for myself. We are in the middle of winter. You don't have a lot of time in the evening sometimes to cook, or you're lacking a bit of motivation. So this is perfect. Something nutritious, something tasty, something easy to make. And we're using only one pot. Everything will go into this pot. So we have a little bit of washing up, but not too much. For this recipe, I chose some chicken thigh, and I've got some vegetable. You don't have to have exactly chicken thigh. You could use maybe some turkey. You could use chicken fillet if you prefer. You can use some pork, whatever you prefer. The vegetable, use what you have in your season, in your garden. I'm using today carrots, parsnips, and a type of butternut or squash, which is a potimarron. But you don't have to use that. You know, you'll have the recipe in the description below. But you don't have to follow the exact recipe. What's interesting, it's just to follow the technique. We're going to prepare the meat and then cook everything together with the vegetable. I've got some chicken stock. You can use any stock you have. You don't have to have exactly those ingredients. It's just the idea of the pot of the dish, which is interesting. It doesn't take long. It doesn't cook for too long. You can do it a day before and then reheat it. It's exactly what I do for myself. I cook one pot, and it will be dinner for today and dinner tomorrow. So you don't cook every day. You don't have always time to do everything every day. I understand that very well. So now we're going to go on the stove, and I'll show you exactly in which order we cook things, and then we will let it cook and it will be finished. That's all. So let's go on the stove right now. And before I forget, like this video, you can subscribe to the channel. You can click the bell to get some notification. We're having new videos coming every week. And you can share also this video with any foodie friend who would love to learn about French cooking. So let's go on the stove right now. So here we are on the stove. I lighted a fire because it's really cold, it's winter. The first thing you do, you season your chicken with some salt, no pepper, because you don't season with the pepper at the beginning, because when you caramelize your chicken, when you're going to sear your chicken, the pepper will certainly burn, and if it burns, it gets bitter. So we just start with the salt. You get your pot with I've got a bit of olive oil. You can use whatever you have, you know, any oil you want, or if you prefer butter, whatever. You're going to start with some medium heat. We're going to sear the chicken on the skin side first, very important, before we move on to the next step. Voilà, that's going to take a few minutes, not too long. We really want to caramelize the skin. We want to have a crispy skin and to give some color on both sides of the chicken. But mainly what we're going to do in the same time is we're going to have the suc catching at the bottom of the pan, the bottom of the pot. And that one will give you the flavor and the color in your sauce. So it's super easy, super simple. Do not skip that step. It's very important, and that's what's going to give you the flavor. So it's really important to do it properly. So the idea is that to have a good coloration all around your chicken, or any protein that you're using. So to achieve that, you know, you on medium to low heat, you keep going, turning it around to give a good crust on your meat. And then you'll have all the flavor which you start catching on your pan, all the suc. That one will give you the flavor to your sauce and the color. Once you're happy with your result, then you can take out the chicken on a separate tray, keep it on the side. If you have too much fat in your bottom of your pan, you take out some of it because you don't want to fry your onion, you just want to sweat them. So you just want a little bit of fat in the bottom of your pan. And now we're going to sweat those onions for a few minutes until they're translucid. Once your onions are ready, we're going to add all our vegetables all in one go. So this is important to choose some vegetable which will have the same cooking time. According to the size you cut them, you know, be very careful of that. And we're going to sweat those vegetables again for 2 to 3 minutes. After that, we're going to add the garlic. You notice that we don't put the garlic with the onions from the beginning. This is also very important because the garlic will actually burn before the onions are ready. And if you burn garlic, you will add bitterness to your sauce. And then we sweat the garlic for a minute. We add some fresh thyme or herb de Provence if you have, you know, whatever you've got in your garden. A couple of bay leaves for me. You know, you just use what you have or what you like. Then we're going to deglaze with the stock. So the stock quality is very important. And then we're going to bring it back to a simmer before we can add our chicken. It's time now to season, so you add a little bit of salt. Remember that we already salted the chicken, so be very gentle on the salt. And we can add now some pepper. So what you have to do, you nestle your chicken into the sauce, into the jus. Make sure that it's inside. And then you add a little bit of stock if you need, just to cover gently. It doesn't have to be completely submerged, but most of it. And then now, all we have to do, you cover it up and put it on the side of the stove very gently to cook it slowly for about half an hour. Now that we've got everything into our pot, as you saw, it's only one pot. We're going to cook that very gently, so I'm going to move that away a bit from the fire because it's far too hot. I'm going to reduce the fire. And we're going to let it cook for about half an hour. Okay? Depending what piece of meat you're using or what piece of chicken or the size of your pieces of chicken, you know, it could take longer to cook. So just, you know, half an hour, it's a rough idea, it's a guide for me because I know the size of chicken legs. But if your chicken are a lot bigger, it could take 45 minutes to make sure that it's cooked. You've got the bone in, so it takes a bit longer to cook. So you saw the technique, very simple, very easy, one step at a time. And now we're just going to let it cook. All the vegetables are going to cook into the stock. The chicken will cook, and after that it will be pretty much ready. We'll have to check the seasoning, and ideally this is ready to be served. So very simple. So let's put that on the side and we check. We come back in half an hour. Our chicken has been cooking exactly for 30 minutes. Now we're going to check if it's cooked. Not only the chicken, but also, most important, the vegetable. So let's go and check it out. We're going to check the vegetable. You just take with the tip of the knife, make sure that they're all cooked. You take the bigger bits, that's it. And then for the chicken, we can see that it's fully cooked. No problem. So here it is, et voila! You see, it didn't take that long. As I said, roughly speaking, half an hour. Once you've got your mise en place ready, which is not a big mise en place for this dish, it doesn't take long to have some nice, comfy dinner after a cold day outside. It's winter, it's not very nice. So you got something pretty good. The recipe is in the description down below, so you can play with it. You don't have to follow exactly the recipe. Depending where you are, use different spices, different protein, different vegetable, use what you have. But just the technique to do something tasty. What's important, in fact, in talking about flavor, it's the stock you're using. If you use a stock which is bought or not very good, then obviously it's not going to come out as good as it could. So if you can have your own stock, which you can do ahead and then freeze it, you know, we all do this, then you will have something even more delicious. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video, share this video. See you very soon. Bon appétit.